It cannot be another traffic death like other deaths happen in a few years. It cannot. I am not a public speaker. By no means I am a good communicator. It's very hard for me to come and talk to you guys right now because I am a very private person. But if I will remain private, his death, his loud scream of death will not be heard, and something has to happen. Something has to happen in the memory of my son. My first step would be to put a permanent memorial as a silent reminder for all kids who crosses that crossroad. No matter how safe you are, there is somebody not safe out there for you. Silent reminder for drivers that no matter how safe you are, there's always somebody around you who is not going to be safe. My next step is to work close with the Douglas County and do something with that horrible intersection. I am there every single day. I come about 6:30 in the morning to be there for official time of death at 6:48 every single morning, and I will be there for the 40 days after his death time. I will be there. I am there every single day and I see cars flying by. I think 45 is way too fast in the zone where kids constantly crossing the road. There's something has to be done there. And the third and the most important, people do mistakes. However, the consequences of mistakes are different. You ran the red light, nothing happened. Understandable. Nothing happened. You read the light and it caused the death of innocent child who did everything safe. Why the family? Why my boy has to pay the horrible price for somebody's mistake? So what called mistake? He's not the one to come home to kiss his family. He's not the one to come home to hug me. He was a very tough boy on public. He was teenager. He was, Mom, don't kiss me when you drop me off. I'm a big boy now. He would come home, Mom, I'm home. Let's hug. Here's your nose. He loved and I kiss his nose. He was 13-year-old boy. He would come home. He will do his homework cuddling with his plush toy Benny. 13-year-old boy who looked tough in front of everybody. He was just a kid. I talked to the witness who saw, unfortunately, every single thing that moment. She said, Alex pressed the button for the green. She said his hands were cold and he was trying to warm up and he had a smile, like he was getting for something exciting. He had his first baseball practice. Baseball was his world. Once he discovered baseball, that was it. I asked him, do you want to play basketball still occasionally? Any other sports in school? He was like, no, Mom, let's focus on baseball. I'll be the best. I can do left and right. I'm lefty. He was writing with the right hand, but he was very good at his left. He was so focused and passionate about that. That's the only thing he was talking about. He was getting ready to set up his baseball practice thing we bought him in our backyard when I said the snowstorm is coming. Let's wait. He was excited. I sure hope the one thing is in my heart, that he didn't see or feel a thing. that I sure hope he died with that smile on his face without even knowing what happened to him. I'm praying to Lord that it was just a light turned off. That's it. Not a single pain for his suffering. That's what I'm praying for. That's it. And I will work with the Douglas County to make sure that there no mistake can go unpunished. Laws are really weak, and unfortunately, it's not tough enough, and I don't see the justice for my little boy. There was no justice for another boy who died back in October on the way to school. There is no justice. These people, our law enforcement, give them a law to enforce. Give them a strong law to enforce. They are on our side, on the parents' side. Give them something to work with. Not excuses. Not excuses of the son. Not excuses, mistake can happen. Oh, it can happen to everybody. Well, not everybody dies. Give us a strong law to enforce. I don't know, guys, if you have any questions. I will try to answer them at the best I can.
Victoria, my heart breaks for your family and our thoughts and prayers. We can't imagine the pain you're going through. We just want to make sure that we get your name correct. So do you mind just saying your last name?
Yes. My last name is Sigelski, Victoria Sigelski. My son has last name of his father, Mackiewicz. We have lots of Polish in our blood, and his last name pronounced Mackiewicz.
And just following up on your last point, the charges that the police are trying to do what they can, as you said, but these charges, is it the penalty you just don't think is harsh enough, the time that this person's out on bond? What do you think needs to change?
What needs to change, that every single person have to think, what if it was my baby over there at the crossroad? There are lots of people who out there thinking, well, mistake can happen, it was an accident, he doesn't have to be punished. And occasionally I do reply, okay, and now imagine it was your baby did everything right. If your baby was crossing on the green, your baby was getting ready. He probably didn't even see what was coming because according to the witness, he was facing the sidewalk. He was ready to get on the sidewalk. He did everything what he supposed to. It has to be a balance of what is right and what is wrong. And if it's wrong, causing somebody's death, it cannot be misdemeanor. It cannot be misdemeanor. If you did a mistake and violated some kind of law, it has to be more severe. So people will stop breaking the law. So they will stop running the red lights because they might think about that consequences. Yes, this time I rather ran a red light, not a biggie, misdemeanor. But what if it's my child over there? That's what they need to think. Yes, I think it has to go level above to the felony. In my world, death cannot be a minor thing. It's never minor.
I just wanted to say that I'm so sorry to every single one of you, and I really, really appreciate your strength to do this today. I can't even imagine what you're feeling and what you're going through. If you don't mind, Victoria, when you see Alex's picture right there, you just What's going through your head?
Him and his brother, that picture was taken, was on the way to park. Every time when it was a good weather, there was no force to keep them out of the park practicing. His brother, his stepbrother plays for the same team, and that shows readiness and dedication, as well as it shows that 13-year-old is still a baby. People on public can see one side of him, tough, all that so cool how he wanted to look in front of his friends. But look at his perfect nose. He always said to his sister, and I have a perfect nose. His cheeks still were baby cheeks. 2 days before he died, we were driving. I picked him up from school. And I don't know why. It was very sunny, and I don't know why. I was trying to look and observe as much as I can from him of his childhood. That was his last shreds of his childhood, mommy's little boy. And there was a sun behind him, and he saw that I'm looking at him, and he was showing off his nose, and he was like, "Mom, do I have freckles?" I was like, "Yes, you sure do. You're sun-kissed, but they're very, very tiny, just on your nose and a little bit on the cheeks." I said, "But you have a double chin." Because I like to tease my little boy, and he was like, "Yes, how can I get rid of it?" I said, "You're still a baby, you will grow out of it." And he was happy. He was smiling. He put his one earbud, and he was listening to whatever he was listening. He was talking to me at the same time. The next night, he came to my room. He jumped in my bed and he said, "Mama, snuggle time." 13-year-old boy, snuggle time. He jumped next to me and I hugged him like a mama bear, just hugged him. And we started to set up his phone. His new phone we just gave him the night before. And that's the last time we snuggled together. I asked him, "Do you want to ride next morning?" He was like, "No, it's very good weather. I will ride my one wheel." And I said, "Okay, don't stay up all night." He was like, "I will go to sleep as soon as I set up my phone entirely." In the morning, he came to my room because he uses our bathroom to do his morning hygiene. And he said, "Mom, I'm going to school. It's a little bit early, but I'll be on my way." I was like, "You sure you don't want to ride?" He was like, "No." And that's the last time I saw my son. At 8 o'clock, people who know me, they know that my son was my life. His school was on my watch. I always received his notification from school. And it calls parents portal through Douglas County schools. And it's dinged 8:04. My child was reported absent. I called Dad first and I said, "By any chance, did you pick up Alex today from school or anything?" No, I didn't. I was like, "Okay, let me call school." Maybe he was just late. So I called school. I was on the longest hold ever. Meanwhile, I was hoping maybe Alex was able to set up the location on his new phone. I was just hoping for. He did, and it showed on that crossroad. I got up and I said, "Okay, he probably lost his phone, so he's probably late." I left the house. We live about 5 minutes away, walking distance from that crossroad. And as I come close, his dad called me, "Did you find Alex?" I said, "I did not." And I was like, "Oh my God, I see lots of police." I see news, there's something happened, and Alex's phone pinned to that crossroad. I start running desperately. There was a sheriff's deputy in the middle of the road. She saw me coming. She stopped the traffic. She ran to me. And I asked her what happened. And there was a car accident. I was like, tell me it was not a boy on the one wheel. And her face dropped. She was like, nothing is for sure. Nothing is for sure yet. I was like, she asked me, what was the name of your boy? I was like, Alex, he was on his way to school. And her face dropped even worse. She was like, nothing is for sure because there is still investigation. I was like, I understand. Tell me, is he going to be okay? And at that moment, I didn't want to be in her shoes because she was the one to tell her mother that he didn't make it. I don't know what happened afterwards. I just remember she took me home. Everything else is in a blur. I don't know what was happening. I was meeting people. People were coming in. I was asking questions. I was getting answers, some answers, but none of that mattered. Now you know his last day.
Victoria, did you want to share a story about his generosity and his...
Yeah. That would say a lot about Alex. That would say a lot about Alex. This was his first week. Thank you. His first week at school. And I know that Douglas County provides free lunches, maybe not just Douglas County, I'm not following that, but he had a lunch account set up for him anyway. And within 2 days, I got bank notification, ding, 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 that it was replenished multiple times per day sometimes. And I pulled the lunch accounts from school, and it was multiple transactions in the same day. I turned on my mama bear, called the school, and I said, I feel my son is getting bullied. I think my son is getting bullied because why would he buy 20, 30, 40 lunches per day? I mean, what is going on? Like small transactions, but it's all in the same day. Long story short, they investigated, they found out my son was buying lunches for every single kid who wanted something additional. He was just standing over there and punching in his number for entire lunch line. That's how he was. Another thing, half of his clothes are in his classmates' closets. Because if somebody likes something, here you go. Alex, where is your favorite hoodie? Oh, somebody borrowed it. I don't need it back. It's just, he would give something he would really like just because somebody else liked it too. That's something you cannot teach your child. That's something he was born with. He was caring, and he was, as I mentioned, goofball. He was really, he loved to make people smile, including us. I mean, there's lots of our little things at home, little jokes that I don't think it's going to matter anymore. Every night he would go to sleep. He will stop by my room. He will give his nose for goodbye. He will turn his butt for the slap, for his good night. He was a baby, no matter how tough he was.
Yeah, when I was thinking about the question that was asked earlier about what do I think or what do we think when we look at these pictures of Alex, I was recalling how gifted of an athlete he was with baseball. In his last couple of years of playing baseball, I would go to every single practice and game, and he would play with my son. They were my son and him. They grew up together for 5 years, and they were the best of friends. They were the closest brothers. They were on the same team. And every time Alex would come up to bat, I would jump up with my phone, and I'd be waiting for that next home run from him. He would go thump, thump, thump with that bat. I once saw him hit 3 home runs in one game. I mean, he was that good. And he could bat lefty and righty. He could throw lefty and righty. And I wrote in his obituary that I would watch him fly across the home plate, often with his wings spread high. And that's partially where we came up with the idea of fly high for Alex. He's flying high, and even though we are grieving, I know he wouldn't want us to grieve. He'd want us to be happy and make a positive difference and change and learn from this, learn from his example, because he was the model example, and I am honored to have helped raise him for the past 5 years, and I will truly miss him. And his community will miss him, and it shows by the hundreds of people that supported us. That's all I got to say.
I would say it was in thousands, not hundreds. And for all people who reached out to me out there, sometimes I did not reply, sometimes I just put the heart next to your reply, but I did read every single message, every single one message, and those communications were in thousands. And I know not Douglas County parents, but I truly hope that all Colorado parents will stand with us for changes. All Colorado, because it's not Douglas County problem, it's the Colorado. We have to do something for our kids. We need to make sure they're safe. And I just want all parents, parents of Aurora, parents of Thornton, parents of Arvada, Littleton, Highlands Ranch, I just want them to realize that we together, only us, all of us together can do something. We have to be heard. Our message has to be heard.
Thank you both. Robert?
Hello, everyone. I'm Alexander's father, Robert Mackiewicz. I would like to say a little bit about my son. I, as a father, would never have thought that I would have to see the day I have to bury my own son, Alexander Robert Mackiewicz. Alex was my little boy, and no matter how fast he was growing up, I treated Alex like he still was one. Alex was very popular, had a great personality, and many friends. Alex loved snowboarding and hitting every jump he saw and going to the rail park. One of Alex's favorite things about the mountains was the views. He would always say this to me: "Dad, look at the beautiful views," and begin to take pictures and videos of it. Friday was our favorite day, but now it is an empty day. That day, I always picked up Alex from school, and we had chicken filet meal with a vanilla shake. It was our favorite day of the week, and now it brings sadness, loneliness, as well as empty weekend as Alex stayed the entire weekend with me and his big brother. The favorite things they liked to do was to play catch, video games, and make dinner together, or just order their favorite cheese pizza. When I got Alex a one-wheel for his 13th birthday, he instantly loved it more than snowboarding and a dirt bike riding, and we could not get him off of it. I remember that once Alex unpacked it, the one wheel, an hour later he already knew how to ride it, and to this day I still don't know how to get on it. Alex's dream was to be a baseball player. He was looking forward to his spring baseball season, but did not get to make it to his first practice. This year, Alex just learned how to bat both right and left-handed and was naturally lefty and loved to play center field and catch fly balls. There was no better feeling for all of us being at the games watching Alex play, but now it's just a memory. Traffic safety for school kids should be a priority, and no parent should ever go through this. Alex was a sweetheart. Alex was handsome. Alex was my pride and joy. Alex was a young star and talented at everything he did. He was loved by everyone and will be missed by everyone. My life will never be the same, but all the memories will be within me forever. I don't know what else to say, so the last thing I would like to say is thank you for the support from everyone out there, from the community, because it did show how much support we received. Thank you.
Yeah. My brother, well, first of all, my name's Elena. I'm his older sister. There's a lot to be said about my brother, a lot more things than what my parents had already said before. But he was a really charismatic kid. He was always very, very happy. It was to a certain extent weird because nobody could be that happy all the time. It's not natural, but that's just the way he was. I remember specifically, I came home from college one day, and I'm an engineering major, and I was very excited about like everything that I've had to experience from college, all of my classes, my friends, everything. And my mom is my witness. I was very annoying about like, oh, I love California. I love everything I'm doing. And my brother, I never really paid attention, but apparently my brother was listening to all of this. And he realized how much I really was enjoying my career. And the next time I came back home to visit, I see that my brother has taken the same interest as me. He tells me, I want to go to Davis. I want to be an engineer. I was thinking, first of all, copycat, that's my thing, but it really showed that he was just a kid. He looked up to specifically me because I'm his older sister, but also you could really tell that he really focused on everything that he liked. My mom said he chose baseball. He decided to be the best baseball player. He practiced everything, but then also specifically with what I'm doing, like engineering, I come home and I see that he made himself a 3D, like obviously he bought My parents bought the 3D printer, but he set it up all by himself. I've been taking classes. I'm paying tuition to learn everything that he learned by himself in a dark room online. Everything that he was doing was incredible. He did CAD, he knew how to do everything. Really impressive for a 13-year-old. He was so smart and he was so dedicated to everything that he liked. Like, if he was interested in something, he didn't go halfway. He hyper-focused and he was there until he knew everything there is to be known about something. He was very caring, little sweetheart. Something that's not normal from a 13-year-old boy is taking care of his 20-year-old sister when he's 13, or in my case back then I was 18. And it was just, how can a baby be this responsible? How can he go out of his way to like be empathetic? Because usually little boys aren't that empathetic. They say things, they do things, but that wasn't in his nature. He was always very, very sweet. And we were talking about him in the past tense, because as a sibling, especially our age, you don't expect to be talking about your little brother in the past tense, about who he was, what he wanted to do. Being an older sibling, you see that it breaks your heart knowing that he's not going to grow up and he's not going to do the things that you were so excited for him to do, to eventually go to high school, go to prom, graduate, start college, start really discovering who he was. And I was so excited for that for him, because it was such a journey for me, but now it's kind of empty. My brother was everything that I wanted to be, despite the fact that he was younger. I wanted to be empathetic the way he was. Sadly, I could never achieve what could be done naturally. I wanted to be as smart as he was, to just get things the way he did. It always took me that extra mile. I always wanted to be able to be that person that you can talk to, the same way that he was. I was having full-on adult conversations with an 8-year-old, and I probably told him things that I shouldn't have. It's not age appropriate, but he was there and he just understood it. He understood everything. The entire reason I met my boyfriend was through him, because we were swiping on Tinder together and he swiped on him. He was a friend. He was very easy to talk to. Feels a little hollow now, knowing that I won't have that again. Thank you. If anybody has any questions, I'd be glad to answer. Okay.
So, as the sheriff of Douglas County, I will be working with the family when the time is right to meet with our local legislators for potential changes in the traffic code. Alex's life was taken in a moment because of the driving actions of an individual. Careless driving resulting in death carries a maximum of a $1,000 fine and 1 year in county jail. A maximum. This family lost a son, they lost a brother, and on top of all that, the justice system is likely going to fail them as well. That's not right. This kid deserved to grow up. People need to pay attention when they are behind the wheel and focus on nothing else. And if they are in doubt, they slow down and they stop before proceeding. I can't go into too much more detail about this, other than to say that we will be side by side with this family and fighting with them now and moving forward to bring about appropriate change in the state of Colorado. Because what has happened to this family should not happen to any other families. And so my hope is during the next legislative session that we can bring about appropriate change. They will never have the justice that they need, but Colorado needs to do better to protect victims and to protect families and to protect other people out there on the roadway. Is there any questions? Yes, ma'am.
Why did it take so long? When I was out there at that intersection, looking at that, beautiful memorial, there were so many flowers and so many things there. And I talked to somebody who lived in that neighborhood and said, it's been crazy like this ever since I grew up here decades ago. Why did it take this for change to happen?
That's a good question. Since I had become the sheriff a little over a year ago, we've nearly doubled the size of our traffic unit. Traffic safety, traffic enforcement is important to me as the sheriff of this community. And it's important that people pay attention and through enforcement. And, our goal is voluntary compliance. But when that fails, you need enforcement. And people need to pay attention. And so we've made an emphasis on that since I have been the sheriff. But people tragically die in motor vehicle accidents or as pedestrians throughout this entire state on a regular basis. And it's a headline for a day or two, and then people forget. And so our objective is to make people not forget and to realize that when you're behind the wheel, it's important to be paying attention at all times. And people go about their day-to-day lives driving their motor vehicles to and from it anywhere they go. And they lose focus on what's truly important, and that's what you're doing behind the wheel. And so we don't want Alex's death to be in vain, and we want to be able to bring about change. And unfortunately, a lot of times change does not occur until there's a horrific tragedy. And so we're not going to let this be another headline for a day or two and then move on until the next child dies. We're going to do what we can to make change now.
Going off on that, I believe that we heard that there was cameras at that intersection that they weren't recording. Since this has happened, are they being recorded, and why weren't they before?
The county has not had a recording mechanism for traffic cameras. You may recall a couple months ago that there was a shootout in the middle of Inverness, in the middle of an intersection. The Douglas County Sheriff's Office, members of my staff, and myself have gotten with our county commissioners, and we found funding to start recording these cameras and being able to pull those recordings. And so, unfortunately, that's not happening until April 1st. It's a little bit late, but moving forward, we're happy to say that there has been some change in county government, and we will be able to start pulling video from these cameras. Any other questions? Okay. I very much appreciate everybody coming today. Thank you very much.